Kia ora. Thank you, everyone. Ka kite anō.
Ka kite anō. Item 13, unlucky for some, sport and rec. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dalton. And it's in regards to sport and rec investment fund. So I'll invite Nick, accompanied, I think, by Dave and Mace. Kia ora.
Kia ora, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ka pai.
And good morning, Mr. Mayor and councillors and IMSB representatives. If you give me a moment, I'll just bring up my presentation.
Maya, have you got the presentation in the event that we have some issues as we did just the last item?
Okay, that's now shared. I'm hopeful that you'll be able to see that.
Yeah, got it now. Kia ora, Nick.
Kia ora, thank you. Yes, my name's Nick Harris. I'm from the Sport and Recreation team within Park Sport and Recreation. I'm here to talk about the Sport and Recreation Facilities Investment Fund 2021-2022. The purpose of the report and the presentation is to approve an allocation of 300,000 from the FY22 Sport and Recreation Facilities Investment Fund to a sports field upgrade program. Also to endorse the request that the Finance and Performance Committee approve an OPEX to CAPEX conversion of that 300,000 allocation. Then to authorise the General Manager of Community Facilities to oversee the allocation of the sports field upgrade program within the budget envelope. And finally, to note that the next funding round for the Sport and Recreation Facilities Investment Fund will open on the 15th of November 2021. Quick background on the Sport and Recreation Facilities Investment Fund. The fund was established to support development of facilities to create opportunities for Aucklanders to get active. The 10-year budget, 21 to 31, allocated 150 million over 10 years. It's a contestable grant aimed at non-council facility owners. However, it can be allocated towards council assets on a case-by-case basis, but this does require an OPEX to CAPEX conversion in order to properly account for consequential OPEX. So that's ongoing maintenance budgets. The fund is achieving impact for community sport. There have been 2 allocation rounds previously in FY19 and FY21, 5 and 9.9 million respectively. The fund's supported a range of facility projects. An example of, a few examples are shown here on the slide. Just very quickly, that there's Three Kings United club rooms, Counties Manukau Taniwha BMX track rebuild, supporting the Matakana Coast Trail Trust project up in the Mahurangi area, rubberisation of netball courts in Papakura at Bruce Pullman Park, and then a rebuild of the Waitemata Table Tennis Association facility in Orotia. There's a range of other projects, both completed and still in progress. That's just a little sample of what is being achieved through the fund. In the last funding round, FY21, the Facilities Investment Fund allocated 5.7 million with an OPEX to CAPEX conversion to a council sports field upgrade program. 3 parks were identified as areas of highest need: Mangere Centre Park, Papatoetoe Recreation Grounds and Mountford Park in Manurewa. The opportunity has been identified through the program to add an additional park. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'll just back up. The original 5.7 million allocation was based on estimated project costs Those have now been updated by our colleagues in Community Facilities. We have confirmed project costs for those three parks, and they indicate a budget overspend at Mangere Centre Park and then underspends in Papatoetoe and Mountford Park. The overspend at Mangere Centre Park can be covered and the project fully delivered if the underspend from Papatoetoe is redirected within the program towards Mangere Centre Park, and then the budget's topped up with a new allocation of 300,000 from FY22 Facility Investment Fund. This is recommended. And then the opportunity to expand the sports field upgrade program to include a fourth park, that is Manurewa War Memorial Park, has been identified. This could be achieved by reallocating the underspend from Mountford Park and combining that with a recent Manurewa Local Board LDI allocation of 500,000. So this is also recommended. The following two slides just lay out the financials in a little more detail. This shows, here you'll see the original budget costing, the forecast project costings in the central column, the confirmed costings next to them, and then under an overspend. You can see bottom right hand corner a total program budget surplus of 110,000. And then just digging into this in slightly more detail, the next column along to the right shows how the underspends can be reallocated, and a new allocation from FY22 towards this program can cover the costs at Mangere Centre Park and Manurewa War Memorial Park. In terms of next steps, should the recommendations be adopted, we'll ask Finance and Performance Committee to approve an OPEX to CAPEX conversion. That conversion will then be completed by our colleagues in Finance, and that will allow Community Facilities to begin work according to the program timeline. And then also, and finally from me, the FY23 funding round for the Sport and Recreation Facilities Investment Fund opens on the 15th of November. Final allocation decisions for that fund will be in September 2022. Kia ora koutou.
Kia ora, Nick. Look, I just want to acknowledge the work that you've done in regards to this particular item. So thank you so much for that, Nick.
Kia ora, Mr. Chair.
I think that last bullet point on your last page around next steps is key, and I know there's a memo that's been sent out around the fund. So look, that's something that our sporting community, but more importantly Tamaki Makaurau, would obviously invest in. So Nick, again, thank you so much for this. I'll go to Pārtai. I've got one, but I'll go to the sidebar first, and I've got Councillor Watson and then Councillor Walker. Before Councillor Watson, you asked your Pārtai, I just wanted to say that Councillor Dalton is now the new mover, and I've seconded this particular report. So Councillor Watson, Walker, and then Newman. Kia ora.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. Just a question, Nick, on the sports field upgrades. The four fields, or four centres, I should say, that are benefiting from this fund at this point. But is there another budget that caters to that sort of upgrade elsewhere? Because I'm assuming that involves improvements to the turf and that kind of sand slitting and things like that. So, is this the only fund where this occurs now, or is that occurring in other places through other investment?
Thank you, Councillor, and through the Chair, and I might just ask Mace to provide a slightly more detail following my introductory answer, if that's okay. My understanding is that this is not the only budget for council sports field upgrades. There are standing sort of renewals and maintenance budgets and so on and so forth. Then there was also this, its name has evolved over the years, but most recently the Sports Infrastructure Development Program. However, I'll have to throw to Mace to expand on that. Thank you, Mace.
Kia ora, councillors. Nick's absolutely right that this other sports field development funding does come from our capital development funding for sports field upgrades to meet demand. Happy to catch up with you at some time, Councillor Watson, to take you through the various funding streams.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Mace. That would be useful because it. So it's good to see these sort of upgrades occurring at these grounds, some of which have been on the waiting list for quite some time. But it'll be useful to know how our program is going as a whole, and also if there has been any effects, good or bad, from the COVID interruptions in terms of programs and wear and tear on fields. But yeah, perhaps another time for that. Thank you.
Just in addition, through you, Mr. Chairman, just to remind councillors and members that we did put community facilities work program for this was presented 4 months ago in the work program. So if that helps, but thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Kia ora, Mace. You happy with that, Councillor Watson?
Yeah. Yes. Thanks, Alf.
Okay then, and just to let you know, the meetings I have with Mace and the team is always about getting or spreading the love across the region. So definitely, and thank you for the comments around the parks out south that need to get this done. So thank you. Councillor Walker, as you have put in the sidebar, if it's okay, you could take offline with Nick, but is there one in particular that you wish to ask to get an answer, or will you take all of them offline? Councillor Walker?
Not really now, Nick. I mean, my question really follows on from the one that John just asked, and that's around the various funds that's available and that are available, and around the investment criteria and priorities. So I'm happy to take that offline with Mace and Nick. That'd be great.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Newman.
Oh, it wasn't a question, Chair. I just wanted to thank Nick and Mace, and also yourself as Chair of PACE for shepherding this particular work stream and bringing it to this committee, and also to acknowledge colleagues for their indulgence and support for this, anticipation of their support, but to recognise the the decision from the Manirewa Local Board to allocate funding, an LDI budget for Memorial Park, because that's really it is a significant gap in the network in terms of the need for improvement, but to be able to push that particular project forward relies on this funding. So thank you very much, Chair, because you've been a strong advocate for this type of investment across the region, but in particular acknowledging the deficit that exists in the south of the region. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Newman. And you were going to be the first comment because there was no more apartheid. So can I just sort of add my little sixpence? Councillor Dalton will close our debate if there's no more whakaaro, but I just wanted to echo your same sentiments around, especially with our staff around this, but also local boards that have put in to it. And I'm glad to see the War Memorial Park getting now into this particular mix. And just one more comment around Māngere Centre Park. I know that they have been in negotiations, along with our staff, been in negotiations with the Women's FIFA World Cup around a training park for the World Cup. So Mace look, I don't know if there's any further whakaaro before I go to Councillor Dalton, who will close the debate. I just apply the 3-second rule.
Nothing further.
No, there's nothing on the sidebar. Mace, just on behalf of the team, thank you so much to you, but in particular Nick, for the mahi that he's doing. So, Councillor Dalton, I invite you to close the debate, and I will put the recommendation. Kia ora.
Thank you, Chair, and it's going to be echoing the comments that you and Councillor Newman have made, and that is to the officers. And what I would say about the investment that's coming out to the south is, the other councillors are correct, it is work that's been waiting to be done since the Legacy Council days. In particular, the work that officers have done to be able to get an investment into War Memorial. I was invited to the workshop that the local board had on this particular item. This is a perfect example where good quality of advice was given by officers to the local board as to how they could leverage their LDI and how they could deliver an outcome that, in this case, is delivering on a part of a project that, as you might all remember, was their OLI, and we're a long way away from those $17 million, but appreciate that is now in the past, but this is helping. It really is helping. And that at Mountford Park, Manurewa Rugby will be grateful to finally have their number 5 and 6 fields available for more use. So it's a big thank you to our council officers and the advice that they have been able to give to boards and to be able to get this through, and support of you, Chair, and for all councillors. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Kia ora, Angela, and I know that you and Daniel and obviously all of us are good advocates in regards to what's good for our community. So look, thank you so much for your words and everybody else's. The recommendation is there. I will put the recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. So again to you, Nick and team, thank you. We're moving to item 14. This is another good news story, as